Here inside Quicken Loans Arena, the Cavs have made it 8 in a row. They beat the Toronto Raptors tonight, 105-101. Chris Fedor, Joe Vardon, Chris Haynes with you to recap this one. And guys, it didn't always look great for the Cavs. It looked like that winning streak was certainly in jeopardy, but they turned it on when they needed to in the fourth quarter. Toronto went 39 straight games without giving up a fourth quarter lead until tonight. What changed in the fourth, Chris?
Well, I think the Cavs right now, they're just finding ways to win. It's that resolve, and it's the willingness to get out there and make sure they go out and execute what is actually being drawn up during huddles and during timeouts. And I think you look at this 8-game winning streak, it's 8 games now, you look at they've won in probably about every which way imaginable. You know, talking about blowouts, close games, key guys, James Jones coming in, filling some voids, filling some spots. Tonight, Dellavedova, second game back from MCL sprain, and plays 21 minutes, 5 rebounds, plays some tough D. So they're just finding all types of ways for guys to contribute towards winning basketball.
It's funny that you bring up Matthew-Dellavedova, Chris, because you were somebody who had some concern about the backup point guard spot coming into the year. You were saying, what's all the rage with Matthew-Dellavedova? Are they really going to rely on Matthew-Dellavedova to be the backup point guard to Kyrie Irving on this championship contending team? And he was all anybody wanted to talk about in the locker room.
He was, but let's remember, he was all that they wanted to talk about in the locker room tonight. It's a long season. It's a very long season. I'm still not sold completely that he's a bona fide backup point guard. He definitely played well tonight, but I still need some more convincing.
Yeah, I mean, he had a nice night, but I think what happened in tonight's game is something that hasn't happened throughout this streak, which is the Cavs needed LeBron to be the best player on the floor. And if you look at the first 7 games, either it was a blowout or he had a significant wingman or even someone to take the lead in, like a Kyrie Irving or a Kevin Love. And tonight, that wasn't going to happen. They were both okay, but whatever they were going to do is complementary to LeBron leading the way, and he answered the call. I mean, we're talking about 35 points. He broke a string of 11 games where he scored less than 30. That's like the second longest streak of his career that's happened. He tied Mark Price for the all-time 3-point lead, but that's sort of beside the point. Like, this was a night that we haven't seen from a while from James, and it was good to see him deliver this way.
And it was interesting because LeBron-James, throughout this winning streak, has taken on all these different roles. Yeah. Sometimes he's rebounding. Sometimes he's the leading passer. You know, in this winning streak coming into tonight's game, he was averaging 9 assists. Tonight, he only has 4, but as you said, they needed him to be the leading scorer, LeBron-James. He took on that role. He hit the big three-pointer to put the Cavs up 3 and really break the hearts of the Toronto Raptors.
Well, that's some good numbers, Chris. And then on top of that, it wasn't just the scoring. It was sort of just the way he carried himself. Like, I remember a point early in the game when LeBron just decided to defend on the perimeter, just more so than anybody else had been. He was so active. He was hounding Kyle Lowry all around the 3-point line. He couldn't get by him. And it was just a message to the team that, like, look, I know we've been gone for 5 or 6 days. Our legs are tired, but this is the kind of energy that we need. And after the game, players and coaches pointed to that. They said, yeah, I mean, in our down times, LeBron was there for us tonight. He saved us from getting blown out, and, you know, he did.
Chris, it was the second night of a back-to-back. There was a lot of hoopla in Brooklyn last night. It was the first game for the Cavs coming off a 3-game road trip. The Cavs had a lot of reasons to not have the right intensity, the right energy in the fourth quarter. They had a lot of reasons to say, well, you know what, Toronto, you're just better tonight. You're better at moving the ball on offense. You're getting everything that you want in the paint. But they didn't. The Cavs fought. They scrapped. They gave up 13 points in the fourth quarter. A win like this tonight against Toronto, even though it is early December, what can that mean for a team?
Well, I just think it's just the way they did it. You know, you look at, what Joe mentioned earlier, LeBron, 35 points, really not having that wingman out there. That right there is going to bode well for this team to say that, hey, we necessarily don't need other guys to score 20 or 25. LeBron can do the bulk of the scoring, and guys just fill in roles, hit timely shots, fill in with nice timely defensive assignments. We saw Tristan Thompson. I know he's getting a lot of hoopla the last couple of games as being a finisher around the rim, but he's playing some solid defense. I'm talking about just not giving ground out there, and he's been really, hasn't been talked about, hasn't been written about, but the last couple of games, he's been really outplaying Anderson Varejao right there. Now, I'm not saying that, that's the reason to call for Varejao's job, but it is what it is right now. But, let's keep in mind, Toronto, this is their second game in the back-to-back as well. They had a tough Denver, I believe, tough overtime. So, both teams could have had some excuses, but, hey, it's the NBA. That's what happens, and Cleveland came out with the win.
You mentioned Tristan Thompson, Anderson Varejao tonight. Tristan, 33 minutes. Anderson Varejao, 16 minutes. About a quarter of the way through the season here, Joe. The Cavs have played 20 games. They are now 13-7 on the year. Where is this team right now in comparison to where you thought they'd be a quarter way through the year?
I think I don't want to say, oh, this is what I thought, because, everybody, inside, outside the organization, there was some trepidation when they were losing 4 in a row. But I had cautioned that there was an opportunity for somewhat of a slow start because of the tough schedule and the relative lack of chemistry. And so through 20 games, I'll instead of making the comparison, I'll simply say I think they're in a pretty good spot.
57 more, folks. 57 more. All right, Chris, I saw you tweeting about it earlier tonight. You were talking about the rim protection and a lack of rim protection for the Cavs. Tonight, Toronto gets 54 points in the paint. 50 of that came in the first 3 quarters. But still, points in the paint given up by the Cavs is a running statistic that has gone against them all season long. When it comes to rim protection, there have been rumors out there about maybe the Cavs having an interest in Memphis's Kosta Koufis. Dion-waiters dangling out there. If some team wants waiters, he can be had. What can you tell us about Kosta Koufis, the Cavs' interest in Kosta, and is that the kind of guy that maybe would help this team when it comes to rim protection?
He would definitely help. I think if he was added to his ball club, definitely he would be the best rim protecting big the Cavs have. With that being said, I'm not sure how much playing time he will get to be able to use his services out there, because you got Anderson Varejao out there he has to play. Tristan Thompson is going to play the majority of his minutes at the center position. So are you trading Tristan Thompson, or are you getting rid of him? Yeah. Tristan Thompson is not going to play a lot of minutes at the power forward position. So it's going to be a logjam at that center position. But I think what the Cavs and what David Griffin are trying to do is bring in a guy that can fill in in spot minutes. It's not going to be somebody that's going to come in and play 25-plus minutes, get you 2.5 blocks a game. This is going to be somebody in spots where a game like tonight, they probably put them in 10, 12 minutes, because it's not just the bigs getting in there and scoring. It's little guards like Kyle Lowry that's about your size getting in there scoring in the paint. That's when it was a problem.
I mean, this will drive people insane, but Dion-waiters has scored 26 and 18 points the last 2 nights. If you don't want that guy off your team. Now, the Dion-waiters who was playing before those last 2 nights, that's one that you can talk about, but Dion's playing wonderfully, and if he's getting it, then that's something you have to pause to consider.
All right, my question is he getting it? Because offensively, Joe mentioned 26 points, 18 points. There have been plenty of conversations from other people that cover this team, other people that watch this team, not on a nightly basis, but every now and then, that he's giving up as many points defensively as what he's getting for this team offensively. And the Cavs have been frustrated with Dion at times defensively. So is he getting it?
It's a small sample size right now to go on a limb and say he's got it. Okay. I talked to him after the game. He said he's back. So we'll see what that said, but it's a small sample size. You can't, you want to see more consistency, more continuity. With that, I like what he's doing, though. He's playing well, playing the best basketball of his season. But look at what I'm saying. I'm saying he's playing the best basketball of the season, and it's only been 2 games. Yeah. That shows you he hasn't been that consistent this year.
And consistency has been a problem with Dion-waiters since he came into the NBA. So that'll do it here tonight. Cavs a winner against the Toronto Raptors. 105-101 in this winning streak. The Cavs have beaten Toronto twice. They've beaten the Washington Wizards. This is a pretty good streak that the Cavs are on. It only gets tougher on Thursday night as Oklahoma City does have Kevin Durant back, Russell Westbrook back. Oklahoma City won tonight, so Thursday night, Cavs, Oklahoma City Thunder. Keep it right here on cleveland.com/Cavs, continuing coverage throughout the night into tomorrow, and then getting ready for Oklahoma City on Thursday. For Chris Haynes and Joe Vardon, I'm Chris Fedor. Good night from Quicken Loans Arena.